Hey, well, first of all, I'd like to say, and I hate you're gonna find me, because I want to be a part of this fucking dumb wannabe tennis tour.
You know, I think they got his testicles so far out their mouths that this is bullshit, you know?
I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm just thinking about having won the world title and hopefully trying to win another one someday. You just drop in and just smack the back, drop down, step ah. Well, I'll tell you, Stu, I did travel some humongous ways.
Oh, custom table thing? Oh, surplus oven. Not bad.
Ain't that swell with Jed and Vaughn?
Oh, those guys are back! Get a haircut.
Yes, autocrats, dictators, despots and desperados. Welcome to the Usher Cup Presidential Dinner. I'm your host, the two-time Gold Cone Peace Award winner, Scum Valley's finest himself, the punch-drunk pikey, the sultan of psilocybin, the maestro of micro-dosing.
Smithy. It's Smithy, everyone. Round of applause. Nice one.
And I'm joined here, as always, by my loyal co-host and friend, former editor of Trucks Magazine, Waves Magazine, and Surfing World Magazine, Vaughn Rinsed Corn. Deadly.
Hey,
Give it up for Vaughn Corn.
Thanks, folks. Good to be back, isn't it, Smith?
Ah, fucking oath. It's always good to be back, mate, on the points here for the Usher Cup.
It is a wonderful thing to be back at the Usher Cup. Theo, Bugs, they've done it again, mate. The only World Club Challenge in the world. And, mate, it's a wonderful thing because, you know, in Australia, we're so privileged to have been part of this club culture for some clubs are over 60 years old in this country. And it's a wonderful thing that we get to share now with all these other teams that have come out from, you know, Asia, Japan, North America, South America. I think we've got Hawaiian Islands here, Indonesia, Europe. So it's a wonderful thing to be able to share those epic things that you get from club culture, you know, mentorship, guidance, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, all this stuff, you know, worldwide advice, classic advice, mate.
Oh, absolutely, Vaughn. I mean, although I do think that there is a place for an extra division in this event. This isn't something I've brought up with Theo, but, you know, being a part of the Bondi Board Riders Club, obviously the waves weren't so good, so we were schooled in the fine art of dick tricks and degeneracy, and I just thought that maybe the Usher Cup could benefit from adding a dick tricks and degeneracy division.
What have you got
What
in
do you
mind?
reckon?
Yeah, go.
You know, the helicopter, the wristwatch, the spit the winkle.
Yeah.
But obviously, this being 2024, you know, the year of inclusivity, we have to include women in that.
Yeah.
And don't think I haven't thought of women and
What do
where
you
they
got?
could fit into the dick tricks and degeneracy. Obviously, they don't have dicks, but maybe a bit of ping pong shot put, funk, funk, funk. Maybe a lady fluff off or something. Can you imagine how good it would be, Vaughn, to be named Chief Queef of the Usher Cup 2024?
It's the President's Dinner, mate. The Commander in Queef could be crowned tonight.
Is that what it's for?
That's what it's for.
Are you kidding me?
No, mate, look, it's a wonderful thing to have all these great clubs here. Welcome. And to find out a little bit more about it, we're going to call up, as Theo said, Theo, the Brains Trust, Jay Phillips from Snapper Rocks, the host club, and Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew, the 78 world champ. Let's welcome him to the stage. Round of applause, folks. Let's start with you, Bugs. Mate, you know, you always had the dream as a young man to surf professionally, to do it as a living. But did you ever see a future where club surfing was going to play a role in, you know, the global surf story?
Oh, well, I mean, look, you know, club surfing has been really an institution in Australia now for 60 years and more. And you know, it actually, to me, it began in California with Wind and Sea Surf Club down in San Diego. Yeah. And when they first came out here, and it was like a movement that began in, you know, Merriweather and Snapper Rocks and Cura and Cronulla and sort of all these little beaches. Just started going on little groups and, you know, clubs and forming clubs. And, of course, surfing had a different image back then. And it was more of a muck-up. You know, it was just all-time fun at the beach. And it just grew into something pretty special. But, you know, I'm super stoked what's happening. Club surfing really has become a global movement. It's amazing to see what's happening in the United States. Club surfing has really caught fire over there, and you know, I just want to acknowledge a good friend of mine that's here tonight who's come over, who kind of runs the show in the US. Darren Brillard, the man. Brillo, welcome, mate. Super stoked to see you here. I mean, I'm just super stoked to have all the international clubs coming. You know, when Theo and I first really thought of this, we wanted to unite all the clubs. We started out as a very local event. Then we went, well, let's invite some other big clubs, and North Narrabeen and Torquay were the first two to accept our invitation. And, you know, thanks so much, North Narrabeen and Torquay, the first two interstate clubs. And we went, well, we might get something going here. And then, we, you know, Theo one day just blurted out to you guys, we're going to have a World Club Championship. And it's not the World Club Championship, it's a World Club Challenge. That's right. Hang on. And those first international, you know, clubs that came last year really put us on the map. And, like, look what's happened this year. I mean, it's just gone Burko. You know, we're stoked.
Jay, tell us, mate, you know, you've been a part of the Snapper Rock Surf Club for a long time now. What is it about club culture and especially, you know, strong club culture that breeds champions and helps people really enjoy their surfing journey?
Look, club surfing was a big thing, a part of my life. I didn't really know much about surfing competitions unless you saw it in the paper or you read it out of the Tracks magazine or anything like that. And I just had a vision that I wanted to be a part of that after hearing Rabbit's World Championship that he won. And I just had some great surfers who I was living with at Fingal. I was more like just into that fun thing because, you know, living in Fingal was over the border and everyone gave respect. You get across the border, no one gives a fucking shit about you. They just drop it on you, burn you, whatever. And but I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to be a part of Snapper Rocks. And it was only just friends of mine, Shane Bevan and Dean Bevan, they were part of my life growing up as a young kid. I just wanted to be a part of the Snapper Rock Surf Riders Club, and I turned up, and I think I joined when I was about probably 10, so I didn't really know much about it until, you know, I was competing against Jason Buttonshaw and China O'Connor and some great surfers in that time. I think and Jason Spence and a lot of the good surfers coming out of this town, and I think there wasn't like, you know, under 6s and under 9s and 12s, and it was just like you were straight into the under 15s. It was quite tough, you know, and then I think in my first year I've made a final in the first comp, and I dropped in a good friend of mine, Dean, and he just knew what I was all up, and he looked in at judges throwing his hands up, and I didn't come back for that rest of the year because I thought I did something really bad, so I was like, oh god damn, but I came back a couple more times and ended up 5th that year, and then after that, you know, it was hard. My dad wasn't really into the side of the surfing side of things, and he dropped me at the beach and see you at the end of the day, kid. And the surfing culture was a big thing, and in Coolangatta, and you know, I was living in Fingal, so I had to ride my bike down to the South Wall, paddle across, surf Greenmount all day, and my dad was at the surf club and screaming at me till you get in, you know. I was like, oh, that was me, and then before you know it, Rabbit was turning up with a contract with Billabong, and I was like, Dad, you looked at me and goes, fuck, is he that good? But look, I took things for granted, but surfing was a big thing of mine, and I gave every 100% for Snapper Rocks, and I'd be halfway around the world, and I'd come back and surf my heat for the club, and it was a big passion thing for me, and free surfing was the good side of things, but surfing for your club was another thing, and I loved it, and now I'm standing today as 11 years president, and we're going into our 60th year as Snapper Rock Surf Riders Club. So,
yeah, it's an amazing legacy, mate. Congratulations.
Sorry for talking for so long.
No, well,
dribbling.
You actually
11-year president.
11 years, can you believe it?
More terms than Vladimir Putin, this guy. Fucking hell.
But you bring up
Rules of an
interesting...
iron fist and a bunch of brown paper bags full of Fingal heads.
Rabs, Jay brings up a good point there. Two good points, actually. The first being, when you're a Grom in this country with the legacy of the club surfing scene, a lot of the times your heroes are larger than life. Like, you don't get access to them. And then you join a club and next thing you know, you're judging a heat with them or you're sharing space with them and you see that pathway that they took to become a champion. How important is that? And, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. We've seen, with Merriweather, Narrabeen, Snapper, many other clubs, just the production line of champions that come out of them.
Yeah.
How was it for you when you were a Grom? I mean, were you getting access to that?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, this Coolangatta has always been a surf town. Even it started before, Michael Peterson and Peter Tanner and myself. There was a crew, an older crew in this town in the longboard era, and they were great surfers. Robbie and Wayne Dean and Graham Black and amazing Harry Hacker Allen from Kira. We had so many great champions when I was a kid looking up to them. And then, I started the first surf academy on the Gold Coast way back in the day. And it was back in the day where fathers went, "Are we going to give Rabbit $10 to throw little Johnny over the falls?" And they go, "No, we're not going to give him any money." So the only kids that turned up to my surf school were Jay Phillips, Shane Bevan, Jason Buttonshaw, all the Groms around town. And I ended up, like everything else I did, I was about 15 years before my time. Now surf schools are absolutely gold mines. But so that really began, we went, well, let's make the Snapper Rocks Junior Development Program. And these guys were the first, and that really got it going. And North Narrabeen were doing the same thing. And those clubs that have been around for a long time, that Junior Development Program became like a real mentorship, And those kids represented the club. We'd go away for the weekends. It was always a lot of fun, Club surfing's more about fun than competition, but we're very competitive in Australia. And in club surfing, we like to have our great rivalries. And now we get to extend that. I know that, Theo and I's attitude with this whole thing is uniting all the clubs in a really friendly atmosphere. It's more about the experience, and there will be a competition, and there will be winners, and we want everyone to come here in a great competitive spirit. But for us, the main thing is everyone comes and enjoys. I mean, we're not surfing for ratings points and rankings. We're just surfing for super fun and to enjoy the Coolangatta surf town. Come here and network and meet a lot of friends. And our kids get to meet all you guys. And, as we travel around the world, having those friendships in other countries is everything, I mean, you can't afford hotels anymore. So, we're coming over to stay at your place. We're bringing the whole tribe.
Mate, it is a lot of fun, but, as you just both mentioned, the club surfing, it brings out a competitiveness that you just don't tap into as an individual competitor. Only a few people can get there, whereas club surfing, you're surfing for a team, you're surfing for a community, and so it lifts you. And I just want you guys to tell us, who are some of the best club men and women you've ever seen? Because I can see one in the room over here with a shiny head, and it doesn't get much thicker.
The hog.
When Nathan Hedge surfs for his club, mate.
Dog. Give it up for the hog dog.
Yeah. Round of applause.
Pacific pitmaster.
I mean, mate, you will
Aussie
see.
surfing spirit animal.
He'll have a vein on the side of his head that is thicker than my leg, just pulsating with passion.
Well, you know what? Our guy is this guy right here. He's the most decorated surfer in the club. Grows a foot taller when he puts the club colours on, and that's what it's all about, eh, Hoggy? He grows a foot taller.
That's awesome, Bugs.
Bugs, you saw some talent come through up here to in the junior ranks. Mick Fanning, Steph Gilmore, Joel Parkinson, Dean Morrison. Obviously, you played a big part in his life. What was it like watching their rise through the ranks here?
Yeah, unreal, because, as I said, I grew up with Michael Peterson and Peter Townend and Wayne Dean, great surfers. And, we push each other a lot. And I saw that in the next generation, with Jay and Shane Bevan and all those kids. And then along came Mick Fanning, Joel Parkinson, Dean Morrison. And it was incredible watching them coming through, into the you know, our after-school squad training at Palm Beach Crumpin High School. I mean, we got the Surf Excellence program happening there just to get them to school. I mean, Dino, I'd go to work and he'd arrive 10 minutes after I started work and go, how did that happen? He said, you taught me well, Bugs.
Parko tells a great story of going around, you know, the hill on the bus, and he'd have to go to school and he'd see Dingo just running around with his board just going, no! He's done it again.
And the other thing I want to point out, I mean, you mentioned before, Coolangatta does have a really rich history. A lot of world champions have come from this town. And the other day I met a young guy, and they're over here now, the Space Coast crew, where are you? Yeah. And he said to me, well, our club, we happen to have 13 world champions, but 11 of them are for one guy. Yeah, so that's an incredible, from that little town over there, 13 world champions. That sort of rivals Coolangatta, you know. That's a real battle. We've got to get that guy over here.
Yeah.
Well, I think after that ayahuasca trip, Kelly Slater can legitimately claim to exist in 13 different astral planes. So,
Theo, mate, the Usher Cup, it's not just about getting crew together from all over the world. It's not just about, you know, having a great time, sharing the abundance here on the Goldie. It's also about giving back to the community. It's a big part of why you got involved in the first place. Tell us a bit about the Usher group.
Yeah, so what happened was, like, we've had this charity vehicle called Usher Love that's been around for 19 years, been supporting, like, you know, local, you know, footy clubs, you know, sporting clubs, community initiatives and the like. And we never really had a big, you know, flagship event that where we could really bring everything of Usher together at one event. And when Rabs and I were chatting about having this event for what we're going through at COVID, you know, we did it for the right intent. It was more about getting the clubs together, giving the kids something to, you know, have a goal towards rather than being pests out in the street. You know, netball clubs, there was no club rounds for anything. So Rabs was like, let's have a teams event, just get all the clubs together. At least the kids are doing something. They got something to go towards. And then for us at Usher, it was such a huge success. It was like, we can really, you know, utilize this more and then integrate all the other great, you know, charity initiatives and whatnot that Usher does all into one event. And, you know, now we've got 10 amazing charities that make such a positive impact to our community, you know, and they're all here. They're all the Usher Cup family, and they do so many amazing things for our place. It's awesome. And, you know, we want the world to take this model. Like, you know, it's something that Rab and I talk about, that, you know, we've all got kids and we watch how our kids grow up, and, you know, when they're occupied with the ocean, surfing, sports, community, like, that's how we want them to grow up. And, you know, there's other comments out there like village grows, you know, daughters and sons. You know, it's the community. And when we're all together like this and we show the kids as well about what that means to us as adults, about giving back, not forgetting where we come from, you know, protecting who we are as a community and what we love, you know, and protecting our beloved ocean, and bringing all those fundamentals together really gives the kids a right, you know, grounding and pathway to, you know, explore whatever they want to do. You know, when they've got that influence around them, it's, you know, that's when magic happens. And, you know, for us, we want to extend that to around the globe. We want everyone, like every board riders club, to pick up what's going down, like reach out to your areas. You're definitely going to have charities in your local area. Bring them into the club, get the kids engaged in them, get the kids going, you know, whether it's, you know, cleaning up the beach or helping, you know, maybe things that, you know, the community might have different needs than other towns, but being engaged in that and having the kids, like, giving back into that environment, that's what this is about. And then bringing us all together as a community.
And, you know, just to add to that, yeah, Theo, that's the spirit. Just to add to that, you know, a few years ago, Tommy Carroll and Lane Beachley and I we got to go to Canberra. And that was a tricky thing, you know. We ran into the Prime Minister in the hallway, you know.
Did you headbutt him or what?
Yeah, you know. So anyway, we addressed these 41 federal ministers, and, you know, surfing's always had a bit of a stigma about it, you know. And I said, well, ladies and gentlemen, senators, I said, in the real world, mothers drive their children to the surf. And, you know, inherently, mothers don't drive their children to evil things. At least not in Coolangatta. That's over a tweet, no. So the thing is, in the reality was that, you know, mothers drive their kids to surf because they know what an unbelievable thing it is for their whole well-being. And that's where surfing is at. And it's much more than a sport, and it's much more than a lifestyle. You know, it's, what is it? You can tell me, you guys know.
It's cosmic, man.
It's deeply cosmic. It's where you connect with energy. Yes. It is. I'm not joking. It's fucking mad.
No, it is. No.
Just one little thing, just so you know, like this event is evolving. You know, it started out with a local event and then it went sort of national. The individual part was really to, when we began it, was to put some cash in the pocket of young surfers who were going out on the regional qualifying series. So that, I mean, there was a story about one young lady, she'd never won a prize in her life. She made it to the quarterfinals a couple of years ago, and someone said, "Oh, yeah, I think you got a prize." And she went up. She got fourth in the quarterfinal, and she went up and got given an envelope from Rebecca, and it had $600 cash in it. And she was just the expression on her face was such a stoker. That's why we got prize money all the way down to 96th place in the men. Because I remember this one time down at Bells Beach, and I was walking up in 1973, walking up the stairs, and Jack McCoy was standing at the top of the stairs, and he's handing out something, and I got up there, and he handed me a $5 note, and I went, "Yes, I'm a professional surfer." But I just want to say, as this event evolves, water kind of is finding its own level, and the World Club Challenge of it is rising up through the middle. And so this year, we've got the winner of the men's gets 1,200 points, the winner of the women's division gets 1,200 points, and the winner of the World Club Challenge gets 2,400 points. So it's really sort of taking on, you know, water is finding its level, guys.
That's great, mate. Yeah, a wonderful initiative, a wonderful event. Congratulations, all three of you guys. Thanks to Snapper for hosting every year. Rabbit, Theo, folks, and Jay, we're going to take a quick break. Rip into your food. Love you guys. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with the Guinness World Record holder for the largest wave ever paddled by a woman. So stay tuned for that. As dinner is getting served, we're going to call up our very special guest. She is an icon, a former CT surfer, former World Junior champ, has won at the elite level, but post-CT career turned the dial on one of the greatest and most remarkable stewardess slabs you have ever copped in your life. Her film Undone is a full-blown masterpiece. If you've never copped it, please do. And just recently, you may have heard, she got the world record for the largest wave ever paddled in the history of the planet by a woman. Put your hands together for Laura Enever, folks, from North Narrabeen. Here she comes, the Guinness World Record holder, Smivvy. I mean...
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
It's one thing, bro. It's one thing to hold the world record, but to be celebrated by Guinness.
Oh, mate.
That dark, sludgy, hectic... Yeah, Lazla.
Hello.
The Queen. The Swellian
Happy New
Queen.
Year. Come on over. Welcome back to the Ain't That Swell stage, Laura.
Shit, yeah. My
Live.
favourite place to be on the Ain't
Pull
That
up
Swell
a pew.
table.
Pull up a pew. Jeez,
I just don't like how far apart we are, but we'll make it work.
Make it work.
Okay.
Mate, you're looking good for someone who just got a lifetime supply of Guinness.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably have a big gut next year, but...
I spoke to your brother Chris, though, and he said your toilet is absolutely destroyed. The Guinness, it produces a stodgy stool, doesn't it, Vaughan?
It does, yeah. When I was staying up in Bundoran on a surf trip, we drank so much Guinness, so I just had to chuck the toilet brush and get one of those plumbing snakes to just get right in there and bore it out. Luckily, I think Theo's got a side hustle with plumbing snakes, so he'll drop one off to your joint if
I'll
if
just
you
get
need
my own portaloo for the contest, yeah?
Mate, I had to get a C-section after spending a week in Dublin. Fucking hell. They had to cut me right open. It's heavy.
it. Anyway, enjoy your food, folks.
Enjoy your dinner. Anyone want a Guinness with their dinner?
Laura,
We'll get you all a toilet tomorrow.
look, let's just start with this amazing accolade that you've just copped. Let's start with the award first and then work our way back to the session. When did you find out that you were in the running? Was it just people just turn up to your house with a keg and a bunch of little green hats? How does it work? Tell us.
That's racial profiling, Vaughan.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
We'll get cancelled for that.
That's all right, mate. We're in a safe space.
It was pretty whack the way it all happened. But I caught the wave back in January, and it was the same swell that the Eddie ran on, and so it was one of the biggest, best swells that had Hawaii had copped in I think they hadn't run the Eddie for 5 years or something, and I was second alternate for that contest, and I was. They told me to come and hang down on the beach in case someone got hurt, but I was like, do I sunk in my face? No. Oh.
I've just got an itchy beard, mate.
He started going like this, and I was like, I thought there was something on my face, but he's just touching his moustache. But yeah, anyway, so it was the Eddie swell, and they asked me to come down to the beach because I was an alternate for the contest, but then I was like, I don't want to sit there and wait and see if someone gets hurt. That's kind of shit. So I was like, I'm going to go surf. There was no one around that day at the outer reef, and I just it was fucking huge. We couldn't see how big it was because there was so much sea mist. So we just rocked up, and me and my friend Flick Palmatier, she's another big wave surfer from Oz, we just chucked on all of our gear and got down the beach. And then when we got down the beach, there was 10 boards washed up on the beach, and these guys coming in going, fuck girls, you're going to die if you go out there. Do not go out there. And we were like, fuck, we've just put on 5 layers of wetsuits, and we've waxed up, we've got our big 10-O's down here, we're going to go out and,
it's a hectic
have a
walk
look.
of shame when you got to take off impact
I'm
suits
we
and
can't
stuff,
walk back to the car dry. So we were like, let's just go out.
What is going out? Paddling off the beach or getting a ride out?
We got a ride out, thank God, because it would have been pretty hard to get out that day. But anyway, got out there, and it was just so big. It was so scary, but I just sort of found this sweet spot out there and spent an hour and a half trying to play cat and mouse with these massive sets, and then caught this wave.
In that hour and a half, what are you looking at? What are you seeing? Who's out there? Who's getting waves? Just sort of describe the mood and what's going on in that lineup for the whole hour and a half before you feel like you're in the spot.
Well, when I first got out there, I just saw 3 guys go over the falls on 30 footers, and they just had to jump from the top to the bottom, and I was like, this is fucking impossible. This is the stupidest wave I've ever seen. It just seemed impossible, but then I saw this one set come through that broke further out and wider, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to catch a wave today, it's going to have to be a bigger wave, but from wider, so it's not a full-blown 30-foot slab. It's just got to be sort of more doable. And so anyway, I kind of just paddled a bit further out and wider, and found this little spot in the lineup where I felt there was kind of no one around me. And
was there any familiar faces or people sort of giving you some, come and sit with me, or any of that stuff?
No. Well, the thing was, I would usually paddle out and take, it's a mentor or someone that I'd know to paddle out with, but because the Eddie was on that day, all of the best big wave guys were at Waimea. So it was just local core lords out there that day, and I didn't really know many of them, and so I was just doing my own thing and just trying to fucking not die or get blown to pieces. And so I ended up just being okay, if I'm going to catch a wave, it's got to be around that area. Sat there, and within 10 minutes, this set just came, and our mate Jojo was on the ski, and he was when we whistle, it means there's a closeout set coming through, and just paddle as hard as you can out. And everyone started whistling in the lineup, and I just kind of stuck to where I was sitting, and this wave popped up, and I was like, fuck, I'm in the spot, go. And I think that's yeah, there was like the one moment in my life where I was like, I've always had people call me into waves, but that was like the one moment where I was like, oh my God, fucking go. Like, this is it. And took off on the wave, and it was just like so much bigger than I expected.
Did your arms look like the Roadrunner's legs when you were paddling for that thing? Just like these spiralling fucking windmills of just blurriness?
Yeah, I just remembered, like, just keep paddling until you know that you're on it, because I've made the mistake at Jaws before where I've thought I was on the wave and then you're not, and then you have to jump over the falls, and it just fucking sucks. But anyway, I got the wave, and I just like took off and looked down and was like, oh my God, this thing is like so much bigger than I expected. But just make it to the bottom, and made it to the bottom, and then got like the thing ran me down, exploded me, and then the next set behind was like one of those 30-foot closeout sets, and it took out the whole entire lineup. And when I came up from my wave, I was facing the beach, and I turned around and I saw Flick's board going over the falls on like this 30-footer with like 10 other guys. And when I got to the inside, there was like 20 people in there with me, and it was mayhem. But yeah, I called it a day after that.
That's an amazing story. That's wild. Amazing, like, wave IQ, you know. You read on the ocean to know that there was ones that capped a little bit further out, but it was going to be a bigger wave, but a safer option, not one that just jacked and slabbed. And to kind of back your knowledge in conditions like that, that's a credit to where you're at as a surfer and a water woman, if you will.
And I think the coolest thing was that because all of the photographers and filmers were all at the Eddy, I didn't think that anyone took a photo of it for like days and days, until I got like a Instagram message from Daniel Russo, and he was like, I took this photo of you the other day, and I just spent like 4 days, like everyone was like, how'd you go? I was like, oh yeah, I got a pretty good one, like definitely like I think the biggest wave I got. But then I saw the photo and I was like, holy shit. I sent it to my dad, and he was like, you are dumb, like that's so stupid. He was like not even proud of me. He was like, like don't do that.
You actually got the most buttery line into it. Like, you read it beautifully, you knifed the drop perfectly. I thought for a second you were going to just stay on that line and make it round.
If I was like John, I would have like been in the barrel, but I'm like not him. So I was like getting exploded at the bottom.
That was beautifully surfed, though. It was an amazing feat, really.
Yeah, and it gets the ultimate accolade. Like, kind of walk us through that little journey of getting to this award.
I didn't really answer your question before because you were like, how did it all come about? But it wasn't until I posted that photo, and then like all of these like big wave surf crews started being like, that's a new world record. And I was like, what's a world record? I didn't even really know like what it was, but... So then I worked out how to submit it, and WSL were doing this like big wave record chase, and so yeah, I broke the world record. It was held for 7 years by a girl from Maui called Andrea Moller, and yeah, so I got the news in November. So kind of like just forgot about it, and then Kieran Perry called me up and was like, "Do you know what I'm calling for?" And I was like, "I don't know, shit."
Am I getting
but
cancelled?
He was like, yeah, he did that thing where he was like, well, Justine didn't break the record on her toe wave, and so just calling to tell you that you did break it on yours. And I was like, fuck.
No way, man. That's so sick. What a feeling for you know, obviously you grew up in such a hectic competitive lineup, very supportive, but also, you know, brutal. In terms of what it's done. Like, what wave were you actually surfing that led you to this wave at Narrabeen? Was it like car park rights, or just the left, or the slab off the pool?
I feel like when I was growing up, I don't know like what is going on with our storm systems these days, but I just remember there being like big, massive east swells all the time in the northern beaches, and Narrabeen would just get like 10 to 12 foot and be pumping like at least a few times per winter. And now it's just we get all these south swells and it's a closeout, which sucks. But yeah, like when I was growing up, like the first time I actually got out in big waves was like when I was surfing, these big swells at Northie, and like I remember like Hedgie and all the Northie crew just like, it's a really hard paddle out, and sometimes you'd have to paddle for like an hour to get out, and like Hedgie would just be like egging me on, just like keep trying, Laura, like run around. eventually you'd get out, and if you got out, the boys would give you a wave that day because they're like, you fucking just paddled for like an hour to get out here. So we'll let you go a wave. And I feel really privileged to have grown up at Northie because it's obviously, the stories coming out of Narrabeen, it's historically a pretty tough place to grow up, but the club is a very different club these days, and it's so supportive. I grew up surfing against the boys in the boys division, and we have a massive girls division. We've got True Jess Starling and Ruby True over there, who are next gen of Northie board riders, and it's a really, really beautiful place now.
And talk us through your journey. Like, obviously, Undone is just this wall-to-wall slab fest, mostly, getting whipped into them. How did that hold you? Like, did that hold you in good stead as you moved into the paddle game? Like, did you feel that experience kind of fed into your big wave exploits paddling? And did you feel pressure to paddle after doing all that toe surfing?
Yeah, I mean, I started going to ship sterns and all these sort of slab waves around Oz, and I was towing into all of them, and it gave me like a lot of confidence just to know the feeling of being on those waves and what lines to take. Like the first time I went and surfed shippies, I took the complete wrong line, and there's this like outrageous photo of me doing a cartwheel backwards over on like a 12-footer at shippies, and
that was your first time ever towing in that
was
session?
My first time towing, and I just
that is wild.
Yeah, it's a horrific photo, but the next wave I got the line right, and I made it to the end of the wave, but that sort of towing gave me the confidence, I think, and then after that I just wanted to paddle, and I just want to paddle now, yeah.
And how long and painstaking was the journey to get to that point with the Guinness World Record? Like, I mean, you had that mishap at Jaws, like full credit to you. You fucking sent it, but you got completely buckled. You did your knee or something, and it ended up kind of crueling your world tour career. Is that right? More or less?
Totally, yeah. I was on the tour for 7 years. I worked my whole life to be on the tour, and then I got invited to the Jaws contest, and I blew my knee apart in the first wave, and I was out of the water for like 6 months. And my parents were like, okay, cool, surely this big wave phase is over. Like, it was like when you dyed your hair a lot, and it was really, really crazy, but like, you're going to go back to the tour now. And I was like, nah, like I left competitive surfing after that, and my whole team and sponsors and everything were kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you have worked your whole life to be on tour, and now you're just going to like give it up to spend all your money chasing waves and going to rehab for injuries. That makes absolutely no sense. But yeah, I think you get like pretty addicted to the feeling, and it just became a priority for me. And I was like, that's what I want to do.
Can you? I think about this a lot, especially after that Jaws takeoff to plummeting over the falls wave that you got. Just craziness. Can you stand up and just show us what happens to your body under a 35-foot wave or a 40-foot wave? Just over there, just sort of give us a bit of a rundown about how it looks. No, I'm only joking. I just can't imagine what actually happens under there. You know, like
you can just run and do like a swan dive into that guy's spare ribs there.
It would basically, I could just like dive onto these tables and mosh crowd surf, but
describe it, because you know, like when you think
of
big wave surfing,
you get absolutely buckled. Like, you have bruises coming up on your body for like 2 weeks after. Like, someone would be like, "What happened there?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's just still coming up from that wipeout I had 2 weeks ago." But yeah, you definitely put your body through it. I don't know how. Yeah, you have so much adrenaline going through your body. I think that it's like, yeah, you just don't know.
Well, we were talking to Ant Patterson, right? A guy who's not scared, has come third in the Eddie twice, and is well versed in getting punished by big slabs like the Bright, like Jaws, like Waimea. And his whole technique is he goes, just go limp. Go as limp as you can. Don't fight it, don't panic, don't think, don't do nothing. Just basically enter this Zen state with all of this turbulence and craziness around him. What's your go-to method of surviving these insane hold downs and this just, you know, basically intense, explosion of power that's happening around you?
I had some amazing training from Sean Woolley. He's the lifeguard back at home, and he did big wave surfing as well.
Shout out to Sean Woolno too, because he's paddled one of the biggest lefts I've ever seen at outside corner. It was like an iconic photo when I was a Grom.
Sean is an absolute beast, and he was the first guy to do breath hold training with me, and just told me that as soon as you fall in one of those situations, you just have to flick a switch and go to a place, like you said, where it's like going static. Like, you just have to use as least energy as possible. Like, you just try to protect your head, really, but and then just stay as calm as possible and just do whatever you need to do to switch off until you pop up. Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
Sorry, I've got to press you on this, because if I get pumped and I feel like I'm being held down, I go into a panic state. I know you're training it, but what's your thought process? Like, are you actually going to a place where you're just counting out seconds, or?
I actually sing, like I rap.
What are you singing?
Biggie Smalls.
Give us a song. Give us a few lines of what you're doing underwater of these 30-footers.
You just have to, like, you know that you have to get to 30 seconds of the chorus, and so you just go, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures. And you just do it until you come up.
So good. The song I sing is Hits from the Bong.
And sometimes I
That's
sing
why I
that
usually
song.
can't
It's
last
like,
longer than 7 seconds underwater. I just start thinking about all the cones I've ripped and start freaking out.
you can't think about partying when you're under there and all the things you've done partying, because you'll want to die. But actually, I know Ross Clark-Jones just like pretends he's in like a club.
That's right.
It's very fitting for him.
That's his favourite thing, is thinking he's in some heaving German, like, industrial techno, no lights, just having a ripper, and he seems to get through it fine. I know you're not scared of the ocean. Are you scared of the ocean? You just don't seem to have any fear of that.
I'm scared of the RTA and, like, going to yoga studios. Like, group yoga studios is so scary to me. And, like, the bank, it's, like, fucked.
Yoga phobic.
Like,
A lot of people
anything
have
that is, like, you have to be, like, a real-life adult, I hate. I'm like, I just cry.
Nothing worse than letting anyone slip out in a yoga class is everyone. That's my phobia. That really is.
Especially if you're drinking
my worst nightmare.
6 litres of Guinness before you go in there.
It's not just slipping out, it's sludging out.
Oh, bro. Yeah. How's the food?
But yeah, I'm actually really scared of sharks
Dessert
too.
ready?
But
Chocolate mousse, anyone?
we don't say the S word up here.
Mate, I'm interested to know, like, as well, you know, what have you learned about yourself on this journey about the ocean? Because, like, in this game that you're in, you know, you see people get into it sometimes for the wrong reasons, and those people almost always get hurt really badly. It can end careers. We've seen that happen many times. You know, what have you learned over the course of this journey? Because at the end of the day, it has to come from within, doesn't it? It has to be a pure motivation.
Yeah, 100%. Like, when I left the tour, I had this, like, sort of 6 months to a year where, like, everyone of my peers was doing the CT, and I was just sitting at home watching them, going like, oh my God, I'm not making any money doing these comps, and I'm just sitting here waiting to, like, go, like, eat shit at a slab, but it's going to work out. And in that time, I did feel like for a while that I wanted to prove something and make it known to my sponsors and team that I'd made the right choice, because, like, my dad was just like, I don't think you're making the right choice. But I was so stubborn that I was like, I can't go back on this decision. And then I got to the point where I was like, you actually can't do this for anyone else but yourself. Like, you can't be out in those waves where you could get gnarly injuries, you could die, and be thinking about anyone else but you. And so I got to the point where, yeah, it became more empowering for me to be able to go to a wave and say, no, not today, not feeling it. And then sometimes be like, it feels right, let's go. But yeah, my thing with big wave surfing is always like, just go to the spot, and if you get there and you're sitting in the lineup, you don't have to go. Like, you don't have to paddle out, you don't have to catch a wave. Like, the day that I caught my world record wave, I looked at Flick and I was like, we don't have to catch a wave today. We could just, like, paddle in and do the cockroach and go roll up the beach and say we did. Yeah. But I ended up going. So that's for me. It's like take the expectation off and just enjoy it.
Yeah, I love that because it is true. Like at that level, if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, if you're trying to prove something to someone else or to a photographer, then they're not pure motivations, and your mind's not right. And if everything's not in perfect alignment in conditions like that, like you're going to make poor decisions, and those poor decisions are going to cost you your life, your career.
I've got
your
2
mobility.
dogs now.
You got 2 dogs. You
Yeah.
got responsibilities, dude.
Who's going to feed them? Chris? Chicken? No chance. Hey, I think the ultimate sort of reward for that purity in the way that you're doing it is getting an invite to the Eddie. Congratulations. Laura is invited to the Eddie officially. Like, it's a life goal for so many surfers to just get that invite. Smithy and I were talking to Jack Robinson the other day, and he was holding just that invite alongside his best competition wins and some of his greatest achievements. What was it like for you? You know, that's one thing to get an Irish beer company to give you the tick, but it's another thing to have an invite to such a prestigious and powerful event.
Yeah, I think like the catalyst is getting invited to the Eddie. It's such a prestigious and historic event, and I definitely at the opening ceremony this year still had imposter syndrome. I was like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" But I'm so pumped, and I can't wait. I hope it runs this year. It's so weird. It was meant to be like El Nino. This whole season's been talked up, but apparently Hawaii's got the whole rainy, stormy thing going as well as Australia at the moment, and yeah, hopefully it changes soon.
And what do your goals look like from here? Like, you've done so much incredible stuff in this big wave realm. Like, you have literally busted down the door in your way, the same way that Rabbit did in his time. And you're doing that in a way that, you know, women's surfing just hasn't really seen. First with the slabs, now with the paddle. Where do you see it going? Like, what would you ultimately love to get out of this, you know, over the next few years?
I think I'd love to be able to do it as long as possible and just be able to enjoy it and do it in my way. Like you said, it's like people would look at me and think that like I don't look like I'd be a big wave surfer. Like I would turn up to some waves and like I'd organise with some of the guys in WA to like take me out to the right, and they saw me and they just started laughing. They're like, "Are you serious? You're so small. Like you're gonna die." And I was like, "No, I'm fine. Like trust me, I'll sign a waiver. Like I want to do this. Like if I die, it's not your fault if you tow me in." But I think for me, it's like I want to be able to do this long term and do it and enjoy it. And I'd love to make a wave at Jaws, get a good wave at Jaws, and get over to Mavericks and, other ways, maybe Nazare. I don't know, it looks a bit cold there, but maybe just stick to the warm places.
And, mate, have you thought about this? Just next time you're out at these outer reefs and you get a big left, just throwing a big Larry in homage to Simon Anderson, just get that like little bit of North Narra in there as well?
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure I'll get the quad out and I'll just chuck 3 fins in.
Laura Enever, folks, what an absolute legend. Holy smokes. Can't wait to see what you do. Hey, Bugs, just would love to get your take on Laura and what she's done over the past few years. You know, first of all, being a Northern Beaches surfer, a place where you've got a lot of connections and have a lot of mates from a golden era in North Narrabeen surfing, you've seen what the club's done over all these years. To see what Laura's done, I mean, in its own right, it's crazy, but for women's surfing, it's on another planet as well.
Yeah, like women's surfing is incredible, and what Laura's done, and Felicity Palmetier, you know, like really chasing those mega slabs, and you know, outside Himalayas is not for the faint-hearted, you know. So, you know, kudos to what women's surfing is doing. It's incredible, you know. Cortez Bank and Jaws and man, Toto Santos, Mavericks, all the sport, all your favourites. Yeah, so we're going to do the draw now for the World Club Challenge.
The most exciting part of the night.
So, yeah, we're going to bring up the commissioner, Darren Brillard.
The commissioner of US board riders?
Yeah.
Is it the US board riders?
Yeah. Yeah, just because, you know, we know when it comes to drawing things out of a hat, we can't trust Australians, you know? Like, we always get in there and have a bit of a, you know, bit of a tweak.
Oh, Bugs, I love you. Hey, Brillo, Hey, mate, just give us a quick insight before the boys get into it. What's it like to be a part of this Usher Cup and to have the American teams in particular coming over?
Well, first off, I just want to thank the Usher Cup family for inviting all the international clubs. I mean, seriously, the experience to come here and be a part of this is truly amazing. So thank you to Theo and Bugs and everybody who's a part of it.
Yeah. And, mate, for the Australian clubs, you know, we're spoiled. We've had this culture around for so long, but, you know, what is the history of board riders clubs in America, and does it have a rich sort of tapestry of characters and history and classic moments like we have?
Well, we're starting to. We're only about 6 years in. You guys have been 60 years of doing this. So, I mean, it's just truly amazing. We started off in 2016 with 2 clubs. Now we're over 50 clubs in the U.S., and it's growing. So it's just truly amazing.
That's huge.
To see that, yeah.
And is there some sort of Australian cultural attaché who's going to come over and show you how many quarters you can shove in your foreskin, or how far you can spit the winkle, or any of these fantastic sort of traditions that we have in our board riders clubs?
Yeah, no, it's important to have that, right? Yeah. No, but I mean, it's all for fun. I mean, we enjoy it, you know, and we have our championships at lower trestles the last couple of years, and, you know, it's pretty nice to be able to compete at lowers for the finals.
Mate, it's so great to have you guys here. As Rabs has said, you know, many times, it's the pathway for a lot of surfers, and now that it's really grab and hold in America, I just can't wait to see, you know, the champions that come through your system. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This concludes the event tonight. Hope you guys had heaps of fun. I know I did. But we got to go back and get some sleep because the event's on tomorrow. So thank you all for coming, and good luck, everyone, and bring on a sick Usher Cup 2024. Woo!